On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, no Chris McFarland for GM of the year. Are we okay with that? New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli, and with me as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. If you want to get in on the conversation, then join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. We'll get to them in a little bit when we do the Jack Drury season grade. And we'll have a little bit of fun going back to, well, the NHLPA does a players poll every year. They did it about a month ago. We just haven't been able to get to it, but they have like 10 years worth of them. So there's a couple that I wanted to go back to. So we'll have a little bit of fun with that. Where we're going to start today, sir, is, like I said in the opening, before our holiday weekend, the NHL did announce the finalists for the Jim Gregory Award, which is their it's the award for best GM of the year. I thought that this was a slam dunk, not to win it for Chris McFarland, but to be nominated. And I never expect, when it comes to the award season, I never expect people to be from the Avalanche just to be thrown in. Never expect it. See Jared Bednar. Was I a little bit surprised that Nathan MacKinnon wasn't in the heart? Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of good players in this league, though. But for Chris McFarland, did not get to the final three of the Jim Gregory Award. And the final three are Jim Nill of the Dallas Stars, Bill Zito of the Florida Panthers. That's 3 years in a row that they are a finalist. And then Kevin Cheveldayoff of the Winnipeg Jets is your third finalist. We'll get into this, but I kind of want to know your thoughts.
Okay. And I'm glad that you listed the top three, because the top two make sense because they are in the conference finals every year. I get it. The Winnipeg Jets was interesting. So when it comes, I'm taken aback by you thinking McFarland is a slam dunk for GM of the year.
I'll defend that, but go ahead.
I know what you are thinking. Like, yes, he's put together the team. That's great. That's wonderful. Like, he continues to put together and do exactly what you want a GM to do, to put a team together. But my argument against that is it's almost like in basketball when you are trying to get a triple double and you kind of miss intentionally to get that secondary rebound. He has to do this because of the team. Like, the adjustments he had to make at the beginning of the year, he had to go get two goalies. We knew that was a problem all throughout, like, the playoffs, especially the end of last year. We knew that was a problem. Even going back to the Rijo thing, like, you went out, made these moves, you thought you had it solved, and it didn't. And you had to refresh the team. Like, yes, you're doing the right things, but you're also, the moves that you're making are not panning out. And we praised and celebrated the Brock Nelson and Natchez and Drury, we'll get to in a minute. All these moves, wonderful moves. Where are the Avalanche right now?
Is that his fault, though? I mean, that's a conversation. Like, that's the thing. Like, when a GM makes a move, then you're sitting there playing, like, the Monday morning quarterback of, like, are you happy with that move? And yeah, you can say you are happy with those moves. And I think for the most part, we're happy with the moves that he made. And I keep going back to, at some point, you got to put some emphasis on the players here. Chris McFarland can't go out and play for them. And we talked about, going into this season, you knew the goalie position was going to be a big question mark. And, I say this, like, does it matter? Well, I think was going to say, the way I was going to phrase it was like, does it matter that, he didn't address it in the offseason, but then addressed it like in the regular season? It's difficult. Like, teams aren't ready to deal as much as they are as when the season gets into full gear. He couldn't have made those moves for the goalies in the offseason because teams are going into a season feeling like, especially, Nashville. You know what I mean? Like, Nashville is not going to make, and even though they made that in November, things were not going the way that they wanted to go. So, they make a backup goalie move to see if they can shake things up. They're not going to make that move in July or September. Same thing with Mackenzie Blackwood. They're not going to make that move in the offseason. So, like, he makes the moves when they're appropriate. Like, you're going into, you do what you can heading into the regular season. If you're, we're talking about the goalie situation. I'm sure they tried to look into something. Nothing really. The deals that are on the table for the regular season are not there for the offseason. So you got to play it out, see what happens, and then you can make those moves. And that's what he did the entire season. We can argue and we can discuss if you didn't like those moves, especially the Mikko Rantanen one. We can talk about that. But in terms of a GM being as active as he was, I don't remember a time when a GM was this active for the duration of a season. So, and that's the reason I'm saying, like, you saw him completely redesign this team from November to mid-March. How is that not in the conversation of at least making him a nominee? I am not saying he should win it, but good Lord, if there was a need, he went out and got it. It didn't work out. Things don't work out sometimes in pro sports. It's difficult to go win. It's very difficult. That's the other thing with this award. All the other awards, they are the votes have to be in before the playoffs kick off. Not for this. This doesn't go in until after the second round is done. So there's a lot of, recency bias when it comes to this stuff too, which is interesting for Winnipeg. I mean, Winnipeg did get to the second round, but that plays a factor too, because you have to wonder, hey, if they got through that first round, would he be in? We'll never know.
Yeah, and let me back it up. Like, I'm very neutral. I'm not anti McFarland. I'm not pro McFarland. I am very neutral.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mikko thing was a big kind of stinky deal. When it comes to outside looking in, like, of course, when you talk about the cap, honestly, what the Avs could do, retaining him, you don't want to lose him for nothing. Like, you understand the moves. We've talked about it many, many times. But outside looking in, if you're voting and you see that he signs the exact same deal that the Avalanche are offering elsewhere, you're like, oh, that's really not the greatest move that you can make as a GM. That's probably not the greatest environment, and something's up here, because again, with your recency bias, the Avalanche, yes, they're putting together a great team, but a great team that gets knocked out in the first round a lot. So I get, yes, you're putting together a good team. If you want to make this team a playoff contender, you go out, get Brock Nelson, you get Marty Natchez, you get Jack Drury, you get Charlie Coyle. You're doing all the right things. But you also have to see they have no hardware. Like, they have not been advancing, and you're constantly having to reboot your team mid-season. So that's probably some negatives that the rest of the league is like, yes, he's putting together a team, but he's also having to clean up his mess from the last time he put together a team.
No, that I completely accept that reasoning. I do, because you look at the guys that are the finalists here. The Jim Nillen is like, okay, like, he made a deal for Mikko Rantanen. I get that. But the other two, yeah, like, they made moves. Don't get me wrong, like, especially Florida. But I feel like the Winnipeg one for Kevin Cheveldayoff is more of like, it's almost like the coaching one where nobody expected you to be where you were.
Yeah.
Like, you always get that from a coaching standpoint. It's just like, who is kind of like it's either for the coach of the year, it's either who was the surprise or who's the new coach in a new city. You know what I mean? And those are the guys that they go to. And I think for Winnipeg, nobody expected them to be, President's Trophy up there for this season. So I think for that's a reward for that. And I'm okay with that too. I'm not saying like it's not deserving of it. But I think for McFarland, and McFarland is an easy target right now because of what you just said. Where are they? They're watching these playoffs like the rest of us are. I don't look at it that way when it comes to him. I look at like are we watching? Are they watching the playoffs like we are because of Chris McFarland? I don't think so. They're watching the playoffs because players didn't produce. He gave them the best possible. Like we were loving the Avalanche. They were the hot, sexy pick for just when everybody doing their pools and everything like that. They were a team people were like watch out for. So we can't sit here and say like people had that mentality for the Avalanche because of the team that. Why do they feel that way? Because Chris McFarland put that team together. Why are they sitting at home? I don't think it's because of McFarland. I don't. It's because players, coaches. That's the reason.
But who gets the players? That's the thing. It's like
he does. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the moves that he made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's both sides of the argument for this. And I'm not like, it's fine if you have the other side of this. And so many people do right now. And it's so easy to come down on that side of it because like you said, where are the Avalanche? Completely fine. I accept that. I think it might take another year or two, depending on when they extend Cale Makar. But when that happens, mark my words, we are going to be thanking Chris McFarland because you're going to see the deal that Cale Makar gets and run it back and say, like, could they have made that deal if they also gave Mikko Rantanen the money he wanted? The answer to that is going to be no. So it's going to take a year or two, like I said, whenever they do get to an extension for Cale Makar. But when Cale Makar signs an extension, we will then see and remember why Mikko Rantanen is no longer with this team. It's a money thing, and he had to go that route, and that's where we are. That's where we are.
Yeah.
But should he? But do you think he should have been a finalist at least?
No.
Or no? You don't. Okay.
No. Because again, like, yes, you can make all the moves, but like Jim Montgomery got fired not long after the Boston Bruins had an incredible year. And then you see Marchand being dealt not long after that. Like the Boston Bruins are a shell of that incredible team. Like putting up an incredible team is one thing, but if you're at home, like this is honestly the Stanley Cup for the Avalanche was the outlier. It was the exception. Like that's not like the status quo for the Avalanche is one round, go home. And we were talking about could the Avalanche ever get past the second round at one point? Now it's the first round. It's just putting up a fight because you're seeing last year against Dallas and this year against Dallas a collapse. And that's becoming the status quo. And then if you want to talk about like, well, yes, it's the players' fault, but who's getting the players? And is this the identity that the Avalanche are okay with? Well, there's a couple other teams that are making some moves and improving what their playoff potential is with the moves they're making, and they're going farther than the Avalanche, who are already playing golf and in the IIHF.
Yeah, I know it's it happens every year. Like moves are happen every single year, and there's ones that work out and there's ones that don't. And the ones that work out, everybody involved looks like a genius, and the ones that don't, you start questioning things, and that's all fair. That's all fair. But do I feel like McFarland should be at least in the top three for what he did this year? Yeah. Again, I'm not saying he should have won it, but maybe if they just got past round one, he'd be in there. I don't know. I mean, I am interested to see where he falls. He's not going to be 1, 2, or 3. Is he number 4? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. One of the moves that he did make was obviously that Mikko Rantanen deal. Not only from Marty Nashis, but Jack Drury. So we are going to get to his season grade, and we will do that next. Let us hear from Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. It's one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Talked about the recipes over on their website. Sure, they have a lot of different flavors to choose from. You can have the shell or the no shell variety in those flavors, but they have recipes. If you're one of those, just looking for something to cook for the family, they got some, even desserts. Kyle, listen to this. Wonderful Pistachios strawberry orange yogurt. Yeah.
Perfect for that holiday weekend.
Right. I mean, we're in hopefully the sunshine will come out over on this side of the country at some point. But that is a good summer dessert. You can even have the roasted sweet potato wedges with wonderful pistachios, goat cheese, and pomegranate glaze.
Oh,
I should be having my Crocs on right now and get into a kitchen because those things, that sounds excellent.
You're making me hungry.
Right. Get snacking, get cracking, get eating with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com right now to learn more. All right, let's continue our season grades. And like we do every year, we go alphabetically. And next up is Mr. Jack Drury. They got Jack from that trade with Carolina for Mikko Rantanen. And the big names in that obviously are Mikko Rantanen and Martin Necas. And not saying like Drury was a throw-in by any stretch of the imaginations, but he's a depth guy. But for the Avalanche, it was a big deal because that Chris McFarland made that comment. We are not a deep team, and we need to get deeper. And that's the first move that he made when he said that. And Jack Drury came in, and I thought did a mighty fine job.
Yeah,
mighty fine job. So, I'm gonna bring up his the grades from everybody over here. There you go. So he gets B's from everybody except for me. I went up just a little smidge, and I gave him a B+. So go for it. Give me your thoughts on Mr. Jack Drury.
Jack Drury is Nico Sturm adjacent.
I think he's better than that. But go ahead.
He has that potential. We'll see. But I thought he was great last year, especially at faceoffs. He was a presence. There were times that it felt like he really found his flow, and there were times that he would disengage. But there was never a time that you said, "Oh, Jack Drury is a problem." You never had like the conversations like you had around Drouin. You never had the conversations like, "Oh, can he ever score a goal?" No, like Drury, he went out there, did his job. It was great at it. Like he's not putting up 30, 40, 50 points. But he had a great year for the Avs, and I loved what he did. Like we talked so many times at the beginning of the year, the Avs' atrocious faceoff numbers. After the acquisition of Jack Drury, guess what conversation we never had ever again?
So true.
The faceoff numbers. Like he completely changed the game when it came to the faceoff. So I think he was a extremely valuable flat B for me.
When he came over to the Avs, he played 33 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. That was the same amount of points he had for 39 games with Carolina. So, but like he is your depth forward. You know what I mean? Like he's not out there to light up the scoreboard. We say that all the time about that. Like he knows his role. He knows what he's supposed to. And for a young guy, sometimes you have like these young guys that are still trying to force their way up into a higher role. Could he be that? I mean, maybe he finds his way like into a second line at some point down the road a little bit. Because I mean, he
had 27 points last year. So
let me see here.
Yeah, he had 27 points last year. Which is it's not terrible. If that's where
you mean in 23,
24.
24. Gotcha. Yes. Okay. When you say last year, I'm thinking this most recent year.
No, the 23-24, he had 27 points.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
That's good. I can live with that.
Yeah. And you mentioned the faceoffs, and he is consistently good on faceoffs. Jeez. Yeah. 50. Let's see. With Carolina this year is at 59%, and with the Avs he was 56.5%. That is like 100% in Avalanche world. Yeah. That's winning every single faceoff if you're a Colorado Avalanche. So that's part of the reason why you got guys like him, because he does everything. Like he does everything on a bottom six role, which is what you want to do. So, like I said, he's 25 years old. So is he trying to force the issue? And like I was getting to the point of like saying, like, guys at his age still want to make the next step. And sure, like you always want guys to do that, no matter if you're 25 or 35. But I feel like has fit in comfortably where he is. He plays hard. He does everything except for power plays. And when his line was out there, his line was maybe the best line in that Stars series. Maybe. Yeah. You had guys that really struggled in that series. You had guys that played good. I thought he played well in that series. So, and for a young guy, that's exactly what you want. He had 1 goal, 1 assist in 7 games against the Stars. But again, like his role is much, much bigger than what are you putting on the scoreboard. All of that is just bonus. And when he's out there, he's enjoyable to watch. He's always putting out 110%. You just can't really say anything bad about him. Sure, people want to talk about the penalty that he committed at the end of the series. Okay, fine. If that's the one thing that you're going to bring up, which is a big thing, I get it. But if you're going to like dock him to be like an F because of it, well, that's just silly. I don't know what to tell you.
And it's always great to see a second generation Avs talent.
Yeah, of course. And he's going to be around. So they got him signed for next year. He's 1.725 against the cap. After that, he's a restricted free agent because he's not hit 27 yet. He does his arbitration rights. So you would assume he is going to be here for a few more years. Who knows what the deal will be for his RFA year. But,
it's up to him.
Yeah,
you could really start from here on. You could really start playing around with your production. Like, get comfortable. Like, make this your home.
Sure.
Like this, you have the keys to really settle in, because when he came into Colorado, a lot of things were in flux. We were talking about the moves McFarland had to make. Like, Drury took a while to figure out what exactly was being asked of him and what exactly he could provide to this Avalanche roster. I'm expecting big things going forward, so I like it.
I think, they'll sign him because he's an RFA. Will be interesting to see after that. I don't get too far ahead. But he is, if you're watching on YouTube, you see where he's born. He's born in New York, New York. Who is the GM in New York right now? But his uncle. Who knows if he's still going to be there in 3 or 4 years? I mean, things rotate in MSG like nothing else. But if he still is, that might be a little bit of a pull to go back home, play for the Rangers, and under your uncle. That might be something that pulls him back to the East Coast, but that's a few years down the road. I think for right now, you're gonna see Jack Drury around, and I think that is going to make a lot of Avalanche fans happy because he's that guy that does exactly what you want him to do. So I was happy with how he played this year.
I was too.
Yep, B+ for me. Who do we have next, sir? I should look that up. I want to check that out because I'll look it up in a minute. I didn't have it up for me. I failed in that regard. So sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look myself.
I'll look it up in a minute. But all right, last thing we're gonna get to is the NHLPA players poll. Some fun stuff that they asked the players, and we'll go back to when they started this in 17-18 and look at some fun things. A really interesting answer. There's a lot of interesting answers, but one in particular that I'm excited to show you. So we'll do that next. All right, so middle of April, the NHLPA polls the players, and they just throw up their findings up on their website. And I wanted to get to these because I always think it's interesting to when you poll players what they think, what they feel. So I'm gonna bring this up. If you're watching over on YouTube, I'll share the screen if it wants to share. Doesn't want to share. Hang on. Why is it not sharing? Well, I can't get it to share. I have to redo this again. But so I'll start with this year. Here, let me try this one more time. Where's the NHLPA? Oh, it's got the Jack Drury thing up there again for some reason. There we go. Technology, people. All right. So this was this year's player poll. They start with the who's the best goalie. They got Vasilevsky up there. This is one of those things where it's like Vasilevsky's number 1, Shesterkin is number 2, Connor Hellebuck is number 3. To me, Connor Hellebuck's the best goalie in the league. Sure, the playoffs are a big problem, a big concern. But this is just like overall, Vasilevsky's got the hardware. So I get it.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. Who's the best overall forward? McDavid still is just running away with this, but you see who's in second place there. Nathan McKinnon with 9.6%. So how we think like that gap is not that big, players still feel that it is. What do you say to that right there?
One's still playing, one's not.
It's true. One has a cup, one doesn't.
Yet.
Best overall defenseman, yeah, that's Cale Makar. And how we're talking about the McDavid and McKinnon thing. Canuck fans want to think this is closer than this number too. Players don't think so. This is a big gap between Cale Makar's 71 and 0.75% to Quinn Hughes basically 7.5%.
And it truly makes me sad to see Adam Fox fall that far.
He has, man. Yeah, I mean, since he won that Norris, like he really has.
He's taken a John Carlson kind of fall.
It's been. I mean, he's not playing poorly, but I think just the team, because the team struggled this year. Yeah, he has taken a pretty big nosedive. Most complete player. This is pretty close, but you had Sidney Crosby wins out over Barkov. Nathan McKinnon is in there with just over 7%.
I will say this is the year the baton is passed between those two. I do lean Barkov over Crosby.
It's going to happen. But I think people, they're just so enamored with Crosby. He's been there for so long. So, and he is. It's not like he's still putting up numbers, being very productive. So, but Nathan McKinnon under 10%. I think it's the defense for McKinnon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of why McDavid's not up there. Not that they don't play defense, just these two guys up here are,
I truly think I think Barkov is the most underrated player in the league.
Could be.
I don't think he gets enough hype.
I think that's in here. We'll get to that. Best playmaker, Kucherov is number 1, 48.25% to Connor McDavid's second, just over 20%. No McKinnon in there as far as playmakers go.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You're all right with that. If you need to win a face-off, who would you pick? Sidney Crosby at over 20%. Ryan O'Reilly is in there, just under 10%. Kopitar, Jordan Stahl, and Barkov is in there as well. No Jack Drury for that one, man.
No, you know what's surprising? Ryan O'Reilly is in this list.
He's great at face-offs, though. He's really good at face-offs. He's one of the best. I mean, he's not apparently at Sidney Crosby, but yeah, Ryan O'Reilly is excellent at faceoffs.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby is just always an automatic lock. Like I don't even have to think twice about that.
Smartest overall player, Sidney Crosby again, 27%. Kucherov's up there, over 24%. McDavid, Barkov, Adam Fox makes this list too. Smartest overall player.
I think it would be McDavid should get a little bit more love, and that's the last time I'll ever say that in my life.
He really should. I thought that's a pretty low number for him. So, overall best skater, over 66%, Connor McDavid. Cale Makar, number 2 at 11.4. Nathan McKinnon, number 3 at just under 9%. So, yeah, I mean, Connor McDavid is a great skater. The speed he has and how he's in control of that speed is just crazy. The same can be said for Nathan McKinnon. Like as fast as he is, he's kind of in control. We'll lose the puck.
That's my big complaint. Until I can see Nathan McKinnon start skating around people again instead of through them, lose the puck, throw his head back, then his number is going to completely diminish, and Cale Makar is going to take his place.
And but Cale Makar's skating is just. It's like poetry in motion when you watch that guy skate. It's beautiful. Who has the best fashion sense?
I have no earthly idea.
I don't really care. David Pasternak and Austin Matthews tied for first place. Good for you guys. Whatever. Who could be a good broadcaster once they retire? This is all really close. Kevin Hayes wins it at 4.85%. But look down on the bottom there, sir. 2.5%. Eric Johnson could be a good broadcaster. You think he gets a gig somewhere whenever he hangs him up?
Absolutely.
I mean, he could go to Altitude. They would bring him in a heartbeat. But whenever I see this, I always think of like the national broadcast. Players always have an opportunity to go to, like Eric Johnson. He probably will have an opportunity to, if he wants to get into broadcasting, to go to Altitude if he wants to. But I always think of, the TNTs and the NBCs and the ESPNs. Can any of those guys go that route? That maybe that's a little bit tougher to say, but I think Eric Johnson would be good at it.
Between EJ and Maroon, I think those guys are a lock for even national.
What about I think Marchand might be good. Brad Marchand might be pretty good too.
I think he's got better things to do with his life.
Yeah,
I don't think he wants to sit down and do all that.
Here's a great one. Which PWHL rulebook change would you like to see in the NHL? 29, almost 30% is the jailbreak goal, which is when there is a shorthanded goal, the penalty ends.
Yep.
That was number one. I wouldn't mind that. Would I put that at number one? I maybe not. I'm much for what's number two here, the 3-2-1-0 point system. That's at 24.3%. I think the NHL should go that route.
I like the jailbreak goal because it gives more intensity to the shorthanded. And by the way, stick taps to the Frost, back-to-back champions. Good on you. Congratulations. But no, I like that jailbreak. It gives an extra flavor to the power play, and it makes both sides feel more intense.
I would be okay with it. Yeah. Would be okay with it. I would also be okay with the where is it? Oh, the one that's fourth here. The shootout. It's almost like the TJ Oshie shootout in the Olympics. Yep. He just kept doing it. That's the rule there. They do that in the PWHL, or the same person can just keep taking the penalty shot. I think it should be an option. Like, it's not mandatory, but if you have a guy that's just got the number of the goalie, why you should be able to play those odds. Let them go.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be used every time, but why not?
Yeah,
and the other two, go ahead.
I'd much rather my focus on rule changes be in game. I just want to abolish the shootout altogether.
I don't know if that's going to happen. The other two that they have on here is the first place finisher chooses their playoff opponent, and the goalkeeper area, they don't have a trapezoid for PWHL, so goalies can go into the corners. I think a lot of people want to see that come back.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be against any of these.
The old heavy Boolin days.
Yeah. And then they get into NHL arenas. Who's got the best ice? Yes, we all know Montreal has the best ice. That's all they do. I thought they did the worst ice, but I think they wanted to stop having some arena staff members start feeling bad about themselves. So they stopped asking that question. So I wanted to go to 2017, 2018 to see the difference. So, this is 8 years ago. So here's the fastest skater in the league. Connor McDavid, sure. But you see all these other guys here. Chris Kreider's on there, which he's a fast skater. But which goalie is most difficult to score on? Carey Price. Number one, you got Jonathan Quick in there, Pekka Rinne, Bobrovsky, Brandon Holtby is in there. Who's the most difficult player to play against? You got Crosby and McDavid at the top. And so they have a pages here in this one. Toughest player, Ryan Reeves is in there. Who else we got? Lucic, and so Chara's in there, obviously. Underrated player, Nicholas Backstrom is your most underrated. Look at Barkov. He's still, like you said.
Yep.
Way back then. Best role model, Sidney Crosby. Jonathan Taves is number 2 right there. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Yeah, age like milk.
Yeah. Which player would you like to start a franchise with? Connor McDavid, 48.5%. Crosby.
Erik
Karlsson, just under 2%.
Yeah, sure.
Because he is the best defenseman, according to this year's poll at 22%. But you have all, remember what Cale Makar was? This past one was like 70 something percent. And look at this, a lot closer between this one. Forward is most difficult to play against. You got Crosby, McDavid, Kane, Kopitar, Bergeron. Best player in the league. Or who is the best team player, I should say. Sorry. Crosby's on there. Thornton's on there. Look at that. Good old Joe. Good old Joe. So you get to coaches and officials. Which coach would you most like to play for? Look at number 1.
Former Avalanche.
Joel Quenneville. That's changed quite a bit, but Cooper's on there still.
Yeah, this list is aging like milk.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But you have your goalie, or not goalies, your best referees, arenas and teams. So then the arenas, there you go. So this is when they had the NHLPA 50th anniversary, and they asked questions on that. So best forward of all time, Wayne Gretzky. Lemieux's on there. Look who's over there, my man. Number 5, Peter Forsberg, 2.32%. Gotta love that.
My favorite all time at number 4, Yager.
Yeah. But best forward of all time, and you got Peter Forsberg on there. Awesome.
Over Sakic. Interesting.
Yeah. So there's best defenseman, best goalie. That's a close one, but Patrick Waugh does win it. That's always a conversation between him and Brodeur. But Waugh with 39 to Brodeur's 33%. You got Hasek, Price, and Dryden in there as well. Who is one player, current or former, you would like to have as a teammate? You got Gretzky, Crosby, Lemieux, Peter Forsberg in there again.
What a beauty.
4.5%. Here it is. Who's your favorite player growing up? Peter Forsberg, number 1.
He was number 1. Good.
8.4%. Favorite, and look who's number 3. Joe Sakic, 7.3 for basically 7.4.
And number 5,
Matt Sundin, 4.2%. Representing well. But that one was, wow, your favorite player from all these NHLPA guys talking about it. Peter Forsberg was their favorite.
Yeah, I think
I
think Forsberg had more personality. Like Joe Sakic was just like straight laced, like Joe Chill.
Yeah,
like Forsberg was a little bit more. He was fun, and he was everywhere.
Yeah.
If you had a favorite team growing up, most likely Forsberg played for your team at one point.
Yeah, because he was like he was right up there with Sakic. But everyone, for those people that just don't want to go for like the home run superstars, Forsberg was there, but he was a superstar in his own right. But I think people love the way he played too. Like he was more hard nosed than Sakic was. And I think people kind of flocked to that a little bit more. So he was my favorite easily.
Yeah. So. It's like Sakic is like your Mike Trout, and like Forsberg's like an Aaron Judge, like flashy, cool. Yeah. But like Mike Trout's like the best baseball player. Like,
right. No
question. But everybody's just like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron Judge is like the fancy, like cool, shiny thing. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's better.
So, and I always find interest in those and see where the players' thoughts are at. So, and I just loved seeing Forsberg as a favorite. I thought I was not expecting that. I thought, when you go over like the history of the league, it's usually just Gretzky, yeah. Which is fine because I'm a Gretzky guy too. But he's usually the runaway winner for that. I was surprised to see Forsberg there, but loved it at the same time. There you go.
Some things were cool back then. Some things,
yeah. We liked Forsberg before it was cool. So
yeah.
All right, everyone. That is going to wrap it up for today. Fire away in the comments section. I'm sure there's going to be a lot about the McFarland conversation. So we will be back tomorrow. Talk about anything new going on in the Avalanche world. So tune in to that one. But for this one, thank you for making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow where you made it through another 24 hours where that guy that everybody loves in the NHLPA vote, Sidney Crosby's that much closer to being with the Colorado Avalanche.
Or GM.
Or broadcaster.